Fury of a Queen, Chapter 1. This is a repost of the first chapter of Fury of a Queen, originally posted on my website in the Dark Moon Dynasty universe around October 2020 when I released the book. All the links for this can be found on the blog or in the description under the video. I was going to do a repost of a blog, but saw this and thought it would be a fun repost since I normally don't repost these first chapters. This book is available on all retailers. My queen, there's something at Inferno you need to see. Sooner rather than later. Brayden, give me a good reason for rushing down there. Kat sighed. You were supposed to have a night out, away from me. She'd assumed Brayden and the others were going out for time on their own. Now here he was calling her and asking her to come down. Not long before the phone call, she got an odd feeling which unsettled her. A presence in the city that felt off, wrong. She'd been hoping to investigate, but Brayden rang and interrupted her thoughts. Kat, get to Inferno, right now. She bristled and a growl slipped up. You're not Julian. Don't you dare try to order. Her soon-to-be not immediate guard cut her off. Feel anything weird tonight? You'll find your answer here, Your Highness. Then the bastard hung up. He actually hung up on her. Weird feeling? How'd he know she felt weird? Sure, they were intimately bonded, but only Julian understood what she'd been feeling as of late. The feeling came from someone in the city. Someone new. Pissed off to no end, but curiosity got the better of her. Kat checked Julian's office, only to find him gone. She swore he'd just been here. Great. With a shake of her head, she snagged a piece of paper from his desk, jotted down where she was going. She left it on his desk, then left the mansion. Usually, she avoided having someone drive her, as she preferred walking. But for a change, she used the on-call driver Julian hired to take her wherever she wanted to go. The moment she left the confines of the house, her skin prickled and came to life. Her vision clarified. She stared off into the night beyond, taking in the main city beyond their hill. It was a person. Human? No, not entirely. Kat couldn't see as far as Inferno, but she didn't need to. That feeling of off and an otherworldly presence triggered her in ways she couldn't explain. Getting inside the car dampened the sensation ever so, but as they approached Inferno, it grew. A warmth gradually built that made her skin crawl. Kat attempted to sense anything beyond the vehicle, but she couldn't press too far. After the last fight, Kara hadn't just remodeled the club Inferno to keep fights from destroying the place. She'd enabled wards around the entire building to ensure the safety of those inside, namely the occasional one in government offices who wanted to do their king wrong. Julian found working with humans and other races was better for all. Most agreed with his viewpoint. They'd learned working with him meant peace among all, not just vampire and human. That didn't mean on occasion a bad egg didn't pop up who held ill intent and wanted to out them on social media and the rest of the world. Social media was part of a huge reason her beautiful, hardworking king had begun twice the work as previous and worked with far more than just awakened. The king and queen ensured all were safe. Kat took on her duties and took them as seriously as Julian did. She tried to keep on top of the social media aspects as much as Julian, and tried to have her own meetings with the local government, as well as more. At the end of the day, however, Julian was far better at being fair and meeting with people. They hired others to deal with social media. It was in Julian to be on the move all the time, not as much for her. So most tended to come seeking her help, seeking her advice, and the role of mother was the one she took on with ease. Her door was always open to anyone who needed an ear, anyone who needed advice, anyone who simply needed her. Julian's was the traveler businessman role, the father to all. He went to meet with government officials. He went to meet with other leaders. He was constantly on the go, training in his gym, training the Runsazi guard. She absolutely loved him for it too, and often snuck in to watch him train, or would have her own training time. It was still very easy to distract him, and when the king was home, she made it clear. It was Kat's time, and nobody else's. Well, mostly. Julian couldn't stop working if he tried. Just pull up in front, Kat instructed the driver. All Kara told Julian and Kat about the wards around the club was that they were there to ensure safety of the patrons, nothing more. Julian trusted her, so Kat let it go, but she didn't like it. It was strange that Kara suddenly wanted to ward the club. It happened shortly after Julian destroyed the pairing between her and Sean. It was a little too coincidental with the timing. After all the mini fights Kara dealt with inside the club, it sort of made sense, but still, it unsettled Kat. Did she feel she needed another level of protection? What happened between her and Sean? When the vehicle stopped outside the club, the driver got out and opened her door. Kat turned to him. "Wait here." He shut the door behind her, then got back behind the wheel. Being human, the chill of the night would get to him, so he couldn't wait outside. Since he wasn't a guard, there was no reason to have him follow her around. Kat strode down the stairs and into Inferno without a second glance to the people waiting to the side. None of them fussed when they saw her. The bouncer let her through the rope, keeping all back. Dressed in her deep red dress, she earned a few wolf whistles from the wind. Their dates didn't appreciate it and made it too clear. Kat grabbed the fabric of her dress and hitched it up so her shoes didn't catch and trip her down the stairs. Descending the stairs, she slammed to a stop outside the door. An overwhelming sense of strength, fear, and something more struck her in the gut. Grief poured through her. Tears welled. Kat turned her face to the side. Her skin prickled. Her eyes burned, and her teeth began to elongate. The instant before her hand touched the door handle, it slammed open in front of her with barely an inch of space to clear. Braden's smugness infuriated her. She snarled, "Get out of my way." She shoved past him and into the club, then stopped at the bottom of the stairs inside the doorway. In the same instant, her gaze burned brighter and drifted straight up to the window. A scent clung to the air, dispersing throughout the club, becoming so bare nobody but Kat would know that scent, except for the man nowhere to be found. Damn it, Julian, get here. Find her. She was gone. Kat sensed it. The scent was drifting throughout the entire club, an essence on the wind, growing weaker. In a blink, Kat was inside Kara's office. "Where is she?" Her voice deepened on the last word until it came out as a solid rumble. The window shivered in its pain. Kara stepped back. She solemnly shook her head. Gone. "Why was she here?" Kat ground out. "My queen." Kat cut her off. "Kara, I swear to God, you tell me or I'll..." Kara raised her palms to ward her off. "Please, allow me to explain. This story is the first in the 4th and final series in my Dark Moon Dynasty universe world, the Eternal Souls universe series. This series features all of the characters and branches of the world collecting for a final go. The book is available at all retailers. Now, if you're not familiar with this world, I wanted to give a little information on it, but also go into something that I notice now that I could have done better. What is that? Please note that what follows could contain spoilers. If you don't like that sort of thing, stop here. Well, if you notice in one of those passages, I added, quote-unquote, the Club Inferno in brackets. I did it so that 1, it was clear I was adding it because 1 doesn't tend to include stuff like that in a book. 2, I would read it for the audio. 3, it needed it. When writing a series or world, it's important to ensure new readers to that book, series, or world have the right information going in. It doesn't mean bog people down with details they already know if they're a current and returning reader, but new readers need a slight orientation into what they're getting into. So in truth, I could have done that passage better. That's purely on me, not anyone else. I do mention Inferno, Kara's club, and safe zone for all in that beginning to bring it in. However, a new reader doesn't necessarily know anything about Inferno. There's no, hey, this club is a safe space for all vampire clans, and even humans if they dare. This club can be a restaurant, a gathering space. Only few are allowed in, not all. Hence later on by the comment about the line of people waiting and Kat just passing them by. But even that part, a reader may look at it and wonder how that's important. Kat walking past them so confidently. Kat gaining wolf whistles. Why is it important? If an author includes it, it's important. At least if the author knows what they're doing. I do. I did. There's a story behind every action and the actions and reactions of others around. That's conveying the fact that now Kat isn't a human approaching the club. She's not concerned. She's not unaware of where she is going. She isn't this fearful new vampire afraid to go in. She isn't trying to run off. She's not going to stand in line. Kat gets out of the car and walks straight in, ignoring the men hitting on her, because she's used to that behavior, because she attracts it. She shows she belongs at that club. No reaction to the behaviors show that she's not just used to it, but because she is now with Julian, it doesn't affect her and she won't disrespect her mate either. And further, if you know Kat and know the world, she has this aura that she doesn't always entirely contain, which does draw in attention. Notice the way her men treat her. Granted, Braden is also conveying so much in this scene. We see he has the audacity to command her the way nobody else would dare. Even hangs up on her as a queen. He shows his arrogance, his attitude, his confidence in knowing he can get away with that behavior with her. He can. Braden was this smug-ass, arrogant man who she ended up awakening under her, and there was a connection with him that few gained with her or from her. Not a connection of having been with her, but just a mutual respect almost. I won't say why, but they do have their moments which contribute to all of it. And finally, in this passage, we get a glimpse of a female that Kat picks up on. A female Kara just had a meeting with. We see Kat has had a connection. We see there's something very important happening there. But who is she? Who would cause such a reaction out of the queen when we have established she isn't going to react just to anyone? For those, again, not familiar with this world, the last book in the third series, which is Dynasty of Morai, My Lycan Branch, and Kylara's series, we see who is in that club with Kara. Kylara. Because in the very final book, and chapter 5, is this passage at the end of it that I will read you. Again, this is from the book Birth of a Princess by Kimberly Sue Iverson, ME, and chapter 5. Whatever was scaring the living crap out of Kara was close. The blood rushed through Kylara's ears, drowning out all other sounds until something else sunk in. A steady thump, thump, thump. The breath caught in Kai's lungs. Her head slowly turned to face behind her, at the nondescript wall behind her. Fingers of ice tap, tap, tapped up her spine to her head. Her scalp tingled. Without thought to what she did, Kylara's eyes drifted shut and she swayed on her feet. In the scent drifted into her nose, a familiar one that tickled something inside of her. Tendrils of darkness slid around the side of the club, one by one, not penetrating the walls of the club, but pressing into the wall behind Kylara. Seeking, searching, finding When her eyes snapped open, something began to happen. Deep inside, a darkness bloomed like the night she spent with Sloane. Ancient claws scrambling for purchase within her, digging at her flesh until fire peeled the layers apart from inside, one by one. One by one. Kylara! Kara snapped a breath in front of Kai's face. What? Reality slammed home and Kylara squeaked in a breath, disoriented. Another presence pressed around her entire soul. There were two warring. One was inviting, the other cold and alien. Damn it, child! Clawed fingers sunk into Kylara's arms, the nails sinking into her flesh, and suddenly she was there in the room with Kara, facing her, getting pissed off at her for hurting her. She yelped and went to move away, but Kara's eyes brightened, held her, tightened with the power of a centuries-old being aware of powers Kylara couldn't even begin to imagine. Go home, Kylara, Kara pleaded. Pointed, sharp, cat-like teeth protruded from beneath Kara's upper lip, but it was the tone that held Kylara. She listened to the gentle, comforting, motherly tone. Please, focus on this. Us. Right now. You need to go home. Okay? Kylara's bottom lip trembled and her eyes watered. What's happening to me? She whispered, truly afraid. At once, Kara calmed and her entire body eased. The fear left and the very old vampire in her came forth. Cold, deadly, too calm. The next time I say it, Kylara, I won't ask. Gathering her point loud and clear that it was time to go no matter what, Kylara's shoulders fell, her head lowered. Closing her eyes, she nodded. I'm sorry, she whispered, then left the club, headed away from the sensation that grew stronger when she was outside. It was as if something was sensing the air. Kylara could almost see it when she entered the alleyway. She stepped back and back, slowly, then skittered away, fleeing from the presence that came, the grip reaching, grasping, from whatever frightened the hell out of Kara. That is the passage in that book that leads into the first chapter above of Fury of a Queen in the Eternal Souls Universe series, the fourth series in the world of Dark Moon Dynasty Universe world. More to come. Thank you for reading and subscribing, or listening in this case. I know how valuable your time is, so it means so much that you're here, and I'm beyond grateful you chose to spend this time with me. What are your thoughts? Engage with me and start a conversation. Just don't be rude about it. And as always, your shares are so incredibly appreciated. Share with anyone you think may enjoy it. Word of mouth is the best form of expanding the reach, so this reaches the eyes and ears of whoever may need it. My donation link, if you'd like to support this and keep it going, is ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. That's ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. Every little bit helps, So thank you for your generosity. And remember, apparition weavers, everyone is fighting battles inside nobody can see. Who are you willing to see today? And who are you willing to let see you today? If you'd like a chance for your story to be read and featured, get in touch at stories2read@KimberlySueIverson.com. A new episode and blog is dropped every Wednesday on KimberlySueIverson.com or on YouTube under Kimber Bites. That's KimberBites, Kimber Bites. And don't forget to check out my Ream subscription page. Another chapter is up. I am releasing Guardians of the Void chapter by chapter over on Ream right now. I will be releasing my Priestess World as well soon, long before the public gets the books. You'll be able to read the chapters as I write them and help with the world. You'll get to read extra scenes that may not make the cut either. This is still being thought out on how I will, so they haven't been posted yet, but stay tuned. Also, that world is still in progress, but I have written almost 3 books. I'm nearing the end of the 3rd one. That's the one that when you follow me on social media, if you see the updates, that's the one it's about. If I actually do some writing and get all excited, that's typically the world I'm writing in. So check out reamstories.com/KimberlySueIverson. That's reamstories.com/KimberlySueIverson. reamstories.com/KimberlySueIverson. That link also will be in the description box below, unless I completely forget to add it, at which point you can remind me.